listening to the Chelsea FanCast. The wonderful Sophie, Dr. Mark, Seb, Gaza, Benches, give us a wave. One Harry Baker, Andy, Dan, April. It's time for the Chelsea Chadders stats, and here's the wonderful Chelsea Chadders stats sting.
I never knew Chelsea had so much history.
I never knew that Chelsea had so much in it. Well, I'm going to have to read them, unless somebody else wants to read them, and I'll use that voice tonight. Okay.
Mr. Chumley-Warner.
Yes, Drogba scored his first Premier League goal since March 2012 versus Stoke City. Hurrah! Didier Drogba, who becomes the second overseas player to make 350 Chelsea FC appearances. Hurrah!
Well done, him.
Drogba has now scored twice in his second Chelsea FC spell, the same as Peter Osgood. Hurrah! Manchester United, could you join in, please, Benches? Manchester United have won only 6 of their last 22 Barclays Premier League games against Chelsea. Thank you. Cesc or Cesc or Chef or whatever we call him, Fabregas, has been involved in 9 goals, 1 goal, 8 assists in 8 league games for Chelsea. John Terry should make his 430th Premier League appearance in this game. He will overtake Frank Lampard as the player with the most appearances for Chelsea in the competition. And now, the stat of the week. Dazza, do you want to read it or shall I?
I think you should keep going on and
I'll keep going, yes. Chelsea are the only Premier League opponents that Manchester United have lost more games, 15 against, than won, 13 against. Hooray! What do they think of those stats, says Ross beautifully in my ear. What do you think of those stats, those wonderful stats? What do we think of Didier scoring the same number of goals as Peter Osgood? Will he overtake him, do you think? I think
it's a good chance.
Didn't he say in Osgood's return, he's got to score one
return,
more to overtake him?
One. Yeah, it's likely, isn't it? But Osgood had a very poor return when he came back.
How long did he?
2 years, wasn't it? 76,
if he scores, as Ross says, if he scores one, he'll get more. Which reminds me of a chant.
It was an old song.
Yes, good song.
Drogba will definitely score.
See your assembly when we get to win.
Indeed, that's not sung very often, is it, that one?
So come on, you Chelsea.
And score.
When you get one, you get more. We'll see your assembly when we get to Wembley. So come on.
He'll score his next one. If he doesn't score before the end of April, he'll score our last league game of April.
For more Chelsea stats.
Ask me the significance.
No, I'm not going to at the moment.
It's
Read
Arsenal.
this out. No, I've been told by Ross.
He instigated us to talk about the stats.
All right, talk. Go on then.
We're playing Arsenal at the end of April, so if Drogba hasn't scored before, then he'll score.
He'll score against him. Of course he will. He always does.
That's a banker.
If he's playing.
It's a banker.
He was only injured last time. That's why he didn't.
But why wouldn't he play against Arsenal? They're terrified of him.
He might have terrible hamstring problems. Oh no, we're talking about Drogba and not Costa. Yeah. I'm saying, but I think that Costa may be in instead. Why will Drogba may not get another opportunity?
For the whole season. Costa's not going to stay fit for the rest of the season.
Neither's Remy.
No, he'll be in and out.
Neither's Remy.
I have to say, I do like that last stat. That we've beaten Man
the stat of the week.
That's true.
That we've beaten Man U
more than have lost more games against them, one against. Do you like that stat, Benches?
Yeah, great stat.
For more Chelsea stats and history, go to www.chelseachatter.com and follow him on Twitter at Chelsea Chatter. chelseachatter.com at Chelsea Chatter. Good old Chelsea Chatter. He's a jolly good chatter. Yes, indeed.
Good cheese.
Right, Chelsea News Roundup. It's the right time for a roundup of Chelsea news and our new competition. Is there a tune for this, Ross? Here it comes. Yes, indeed. It's the bonkers. Thank you. There's an email from Gavin Hall, an illustrator, who produces designs based on the football legends of different clubs, and he's done one for Chelsea. Are we having a look at that? Unfortunately, we have a technical problem and we don't have the image, but we can imagine it.
Describe it, Jonathan.
Very good. Well, it's a Chelsea portrait. Ross, help me here. What is it? 4 Chelsea photos in one portrait. Of whom? A couple of classic players, like, for example, who?
I think Zola's in it.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about Stan Willemsey? Are we talking about
Fatty Folk.
Willie Fook.
Fatty Folk, yes.
Gatling Gun Hillston.
Intake
George.
Hillston, absolutely. George
Gatling
Hillston.
Gun.
We're talking
Osgood's.
Dixon. Oh, the Kerrys there.
Zola.
Yes.
Zola, yeah.
Zola. Yeah.
And Michael.
Drogba.
And Michael Dubry.
Yeah. Michael Dubry in for Decide. And Osgood.
Not
Very
Zola.
good indeed. Take a look at his other designs on his website. Do we have that up?
Oh, yeah.
No, we
There it
don't.
is.
Yeah,
Yes, we do. Sorry.
HalleyLink.com.
Oh, I've been told off. It says yes, we do. Look at the screen. Yes, sorry, I was looking at
Halley
the
Ink or
screen.
Halley Link?
Yes, HalleyInc.com. And follow him on Twitter at HalleyInc if you want to purchase one. Alternatively, if you'd like to win one, answer this simple question. Which bar did we start doing the Chelsea FanCast in? Which bar did we start? No, you can't answer. No, you can't. You have to
Because
send
I
an
lied.
email.
I know, because I was there.
Email, you get it's unfair. Email the answer to chelseafancast@gmail.com. Which bar did we start doing the Chelsea FanCast in? And we will announce a winner in the next show. So, CFC UK, yes, hurry up. A new issue of CFC UK is now out, available at home games from the CFC UK stall opposite the Fulham Broadway Tube, and also at away games. Do we have a picture of the copy?
The Scudamore upside down one.
Scudamore upside
But it's
down,
the
yeah.
upside down face of Richard Scudamore, as we know, as we've seen before. And if you can't get it there, you can always get it digitally by subscribing online at cfckuk.net. Now, number 3 is Farewell Ron Gourlay. And Chelsea have announced that Ron Gourlay will be leaving his post as chief executive. Bruce Buck and the real power behind the throne, Marina Granovskaya, as we mentioned earlier, will be taking over Ron's responsibilities until a new commercial director is appointed. What do we think of this? What is Ron's legacy, its success and failures? And are we happy that Marina is running the show? Not that we know much about.
Well, we do know who is coming in, not
but
necessarily directly
but
replacing.
it's not replacing. It's this
No.
woman Marina got a role to play here.
Well, she's been Roman's right-hand woman for the last 9 years, I think.
Yeah,
So she's obviously got something about her to be in a circle for that amount of period. So she's obviously got a lot of talent.
Her ascent to the most powerful woman in world football continues. It says West Ham United Vice Chairman Karen Brady is widely referred to as the first woman of football, but Marina Granovskaya is comfortably the most powerful.
What about the Norwich? Well, the crazy
Delius.
Did we say bitch?
But she got,
No.
I think she.
We've got
she's more-
Abramovich. You've got.
But hasn't she put more money in rather than being? Isn't she an owner?
She's not much of a speech maker. I do know that.
No, indeed.
or a cook.
Because that was the
Especially after
the
being on the
Chelsea
cooking
game was the
sherry.
following week, wasn't it?
Yes,
After
that's
that
right, yeah.
announcement.
March the 5th,
It
2009.
says her incredible ascent to becoming the most powerful woman in world
yeah.
football is set to continue. Gourlay is said to be giving up his role to pursue new business opportunities, leaving the way clear to Granovskaya to take even more responsibility at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea insists there's not been any firm decision on a long-term replacement for Gourlay, or whether or not the club will definitely make an outside appointment. But as you say,
So
other than this,
Gourlay, who's a Man U fan's gone, and apparently we're bringing in the ex-chairman of Liverpool.
Liverpool.
But
Yeah,
apparently,
it's good, isn't
Chelsea,
it?
apparently he's a Chelsea season ticket holder. Or fan, at least. That's what I've heard.
Christian
Christian
Perslow.
Christian Perslow, yeah.
But with Gourlay, before he came to Chelsea, he was selling biscuits in Scotland. That was his.
What do you think of him as a global finance
He was Umbro
guy?
as well as Kenyan.
He was.
He said
He
he
worked
was
with Kenyon, didn't he? That's
Yes,
right.
he did.
He's meant to be a Dundee fan, although he says he's a Glasgow Rangers supporter.
So he was selling Tunnock's tea cakes.
Yeah,
or
he was selling
something,
tea cakes and biscuits before. That was his big.
I love biscuits.
Oh,
I
we
love
should get him
tea
with
cakes.
Gourlay
Sources
then.
close to Chelsea are now convinced that Granovskaya will be the club's new chief executive, even if she does not take on the title. Her influence has been growing. She played a bigger part in many of Chelsea's transfers over the past few years than Gourlay. She was the driving force behind buying and selling Fernando Torres, and finalised this summer's £32 million purchase of top scorer Diego Costa. A dual Russian and Canadian national, has worked under Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich for 17 years. Granovskaya was, I'll get it right eventually, was instrumental in the return of Jose Mourinho as manager. Isn't that interesting that she would have the same?
So she was with Uncle Roman before he bought Chelsea.
Yes.
Because I think she was the director of Sibnef, which is...
Yes.
Was that his gas
You said
company?
earlier, and I said Sibnef.
Gas company.
Sibnef.
Sibnef,
Yes.
yeah.
I thought it was more oil, wasn't it, than gas?
Yeah, well, natural
Well, it's
resources.
Sidmouth.
It's natural resources, isn't it?
Is it offshore or onshore?
And she's played a key part in the link-up with Dutch club Vitesse Arnhem.
But
Highly
what's-
rated by many of the agents and club chief executives who've worked with her on transfers and contract negotiations. She's already often described as being chief executive in everything but title.
What about...
What do
Bruce
the
Buck?
benches think about Gourlay? What do you think, guys?
I don't really have an opinion, to be honest. I don't know enough about what he's done, to be honest. I care more about what's on the pitch,
Yeah, I'm not
If I'm-
allowed to comment.
totally honest.
Do you know much about him, Andy?
I do, yeah, I'm not allowed to comment that.
You do know,
Yeah,
but you don't want to comment.
that's correct.
Wow, good. Andy, you got trolled a lot yesterday, didn't you, on Twitter? What were they trolling you about?
Oh, the lovely Manchester United fans. Yeah, pretty much what some of the boys mentioned about the Drogba's offside goal, how short my memory is, and which they're right on, but that's irrelevant. Yeah, no, it was a good bit of fun. I just blocked them all by the end of the evening. Yeah, that's it.
Apparently you have to speak up a bit, Andy. I don't know why, but you have to.
Okay.
But no one...
In future, because I'll be asking you again.
All right.
Can we go back here?
Jonathan, so what about Bruce Buck? Is his position under threat at the moment?
No, I think Bruce Buck he's
Was
he
it
had different roles, responsibilities
different
in
roles,
the club.
but,
Yeah.
but is there someone
He's
else maybe?
chairman.
It's
isn't
not
he?
because some chairmans are like they don't really get involved in
Isn't
day-to-day
he the
stuff.
legal brain behind the whole
He's a
setup?
lawyer. He's a
Apparently,
New York
yeah.
lawyer.
He was Abramovich's lawyer when
Yes.
Yeah.
He did
set
his
the club when he
mergers.
bought the club initially, wasn't
But
he?
he's not a non-executive chairman. He's an executive
Yeah.
chairman, so he
Yeah.
does do stuff.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, my opinion on Gourlay is though, like I don't agree with everything that he did, but he could have been a lot worse than he was. He said about wanting to rename Stamford Bridge, you know, and there's probably a whole host of things that he would have liked to have done, which he didn't do. But who knows who the next person is? If it is this Marina or if it's someone different, who knows what their intentions are? If it's
Rename
Kristen
Stamford
Price,
Bridge.
He's-
As what?
Yeah, I know.
Adidas Arena.
He's September 2009 he came out with it.
The Hemorrhoid
so
Stadium,
it depends what. It obviously died a death, this whole thing, because obviously everyone knows it's Stamford Bridge. The only people that ever call it anything else is the media because they have to. But no one else would have done, so it wasn't really worth anything.
No,
But at least, sorry, I was just going to say though, with Gourlay, when he came in after Kenyon, everyone knew a bit about him. He wasn't someone new that was just going to do whatever they wanted to. Apparently, when Simon Greenberg got an interview for the job, and Gourlay, one of the questions was, would you put up season ticket prices? Greenberg said no, Gourlay said yes. I think the fact we're selling out so quickly now, like West Brom, it was ridiculous how quick that sold out to members. Champions League games, it was only like obviously the end of Mourinho's first spell when they were 35 quid or 40 quid and 27,000 people turned up, and it sold out incredibly quickly against Maribor, who aren't any better.
That's the Rosenborg game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think now though, they are going to probably put prices up again, and I think there's going to be a lot of change. We've got all these global partners, which I know Man United have as well, and everyone else. And I think hopefully the main things will be all the off-the-pitch activities, all these link-ups and branding and the rest of it.
Apparently they're not going to be appointing anybody. I think that's what
Can I give one last
gist.
thing about Gourlay, and then I promise
Yeah,
I'm
no,
done.
no, I'm happy to carry on.
When there was the CPO
Indeed, I was going to mention that I was present there.
EGM, and one of the supporters on the floor said about how detached he felt the board were
Yeah.
from their supporters, and Ron Gourlay sat there and said, I'm very disappointed by that comment, and that's what I've got to say about that. After he'd already called us a brand and justified
Yes.
it when there was a lot of
I know.
when he did it, and then for him to say, I'm disappointed that you think we're detached, although just trying to justify calling it a brand.
Do you think that the trust, setting the trust up, has compensated for that now? That there's now more contact between the.
If you knew my views on the trust, you'd ask someone else. So no, I don't. But I
But
just
you're not
think
a fan of the
Gourlay-
trust.
I just don't see the point of it. And I told the chairman of it when he first talked about it.
But Chidge is
3
involved in the
years
trust,
ago.
isn't he? So it was-
I know. It's today the 26th of October.
27th.
Is it? So it's exactly 3 years then when we voted no.
yes, it is completely.
That is 3 years. I didn't realise.
Can I just jump in
Of
about
course,
the Gourlay stuff? Do you think that maybe he's moving on because they've kind of realised that they can't move away from Stamford Bridge, and the whole point of Gourlay coming in and being appointed was that his vision was to move away from Stamford Bridge, have this amazing new stadium, amazing new blah 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 whatever,
Sounds
and
very
it's
likely.
and it's not happened.
I don't know any of the ins and outs of how they failed to get Earl's Court or how they failed to get Battersea.
Battersea.
Did other people bid more than them?
Yes.
Was that
Battersea,
what happened?
yes.
Certainly Malaysians bid more Battersea.
What are they saying on Twitter about this, madame?
Well, they're saying we're talking about Gourlay, but I don't think it's appropriate to read out. So
Have they been rude about
Are
him?
they using adjectives?
they're using one word.
And what do you think, Sophie, about him?
To be honest, I don't really know enough about him, but I've not heard anything good. But I don't follow that enough to comment, to be honest. But in terms of the stadium moving, I would never ever want it to move.
So what exactly has happened with the stadium at the moment?
We're staying, aren't we? We're not going to move anytime
They've been
soon.
talking about building over the railway. which
That's
I
the
know.
last thing that
But
was published on the website.
I don't understand
It
that,
was
though.
pretty much the scheme that I drew that I gave to you.
Yeah, about cantilevering.
So,
over
so
the
you,
East End.
you,
Okay.
you build a deck over some of the railway. You knock down the Bates Motel and the,
Oh, you have to knock all of that down too.
Yeah,
He must earn about. I'm actually been wound up at the moment by Ross because that's all we have time for this week. Thank you very much. We're back next week to report back on the Shrewsbury and QPR games with the Chidgemeister himself. And you can email the show during the week at chelseafancast@gmail.com, and you can follow the show on Twitter at Chelsea FanCast. For
Thanks
more
to everyone who
information.
tweeted in.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks everybody who
Yeah.
tweeted in. I'm sorry I stepped all over you there. For more information on how to watch, listen, or download the show, go to chelseafancast.com. And many thanks to my guests this week: the fabulous Sophie, the brilliant Dr. Mark,
been a pleasure.
the fantastic Seb,
Good to be back.
and the benches. Oh, and Dazza.
What about me, John?
And of course, the brilliant Dazza. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, and keep it Chelsea. Up
the shells!
Now the continuity question.